300 Blackout. I've got a beautiful Radian Weapons that I'm going to do some zeroing today with SUPERVEL's amazing 300 Blackout. Top-notch stuff, and I want to talk a little bit about maybe some 300 Blackout considerations. This is a fairly short barrel. Advertised velocity on that stuff is 1650. I'm going to pull the lab radar out, and I'm thinking we're going to be more like 1450, maybe 1500 out of this 10.5-inch barrel. A couple things about this little 300. Everything's stock on here from Radian. It's got a Ferro Concept sling on here. Good, always a good idea to buy American-made QD mounts if that's what you use. I see the cheap Chinese knockoff ones fall apart on the range all the time. Got a Surefire weapon mounted light on here, a Aimpoint. This is the T2, top-notch red dot, and other than that, she's bone stock. I'm gonna confirm zero at 10 yards. Rather, I'm gonna make sure I'm on paper, and I'm gonna use a 100-yard zero for this. I see a lot online, guys are like, zero it at 25. I don't know why. I'm gonna show you the math and we'll talk about it. So I'm gonna throw a piece of cardboard up and I'm gonna talk you through zeroing the 300 Blackout. Something worth noting as I'm jamming mags here, the 300 Blackout was actually created a long time before it was brought to market as the 300 Whisper. The 300 Whisper was created by J.D. Jones. Awesome dude. Didn't get his reward for it. It was basically a copy by the corporation AAC that brought this to market. A lot of contention there. It's worth noting. Basically what J.D. did with the Whisper was he jammed a .308 caliber bullet into what would fit in a 5.56 223 magazine. We'll talk a little bit about the energy capabilities of this round and what it's good for and what it's not good for. A little danger point worth noting. You'll notice my magazine I have written on with a permanent marker, 300, 300. I don't want to accidentally stick this into a 223 5.56 chamber. I've seen it happen. Unfortunately, last year at a class, one of the dudes had an unmarked magazine. He's shooting a 223 5.56 and a magazine loaded with 300. He stuffed in his gun. It went off once. Apparently, it was able to jam this far enough into the chamber that the hammer went down when he pulled the trigger and it destroyed that gun. It was a very beautiful gun that he had built. Trashed the upper, trashed the lower. I believe he was able to salvage like a few parts. Had to beat the thing apart to get it apart because it just destroyed it. Do not mix the ammo. They make these little cock ring rubber bands, which are fine, but they can break. They can break. I think I bought a pack of these on Amazon, probably made in China for, I don't know, 5 or 10 bucks for like 20 of them. Take a frickin' Sharpie and just write boldly, loud and proud on your mags. So I'm going to confirm zero or make sure I'm on paper, as I already stated, at 10. According to the math, with my height over bore, I should be about 1.55 inches low at 10 yards if I have a 100-yard zero. Some of you are like, just shoot the thing. This kind of math matters, kids. It matters. So I'm going to take my eyes and ears here and get set up, and we'll get this done, and then we'll talk about some of the ballistics dope and why we've got it. Ready? Me too. Okie dokie, smoky chokey. I've got my standard setup here for zeroing. I definitely don't want to ruin my sandbag. So I'm going to get myself set up. Got my dot nice and dim. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to accidentally shoot anything I shouldn't. And here we go. We're just going to fire 3-4 rounds, nice and controlled. Got to get a little steadier. 1. All right, I'm going to show you downrange. So at a close distance like this, we should be able to make our bullets touch. I shot that really quick for video purposes. I'm gonna zoom in. These other targets is 9mm from a previous video I filmed today. You can see my little diagram, zeroing a new dot on a SIG pistol. So, looks like I need to come to the left slightly, and my elevation's probably pretty darn close. So I'm gonna come left, I'm gonna make a couple click adjustment, and I'm gonna check that again, and we'll see if we're where we need to be. All right, I threw a new paster up, and we're gonna check again. Made a adjustment to the left. Need to move it a little bit more. I think I came over 5 clicks. I'm gonna go, as we get closer to the target, oftentimes we forget that these clicks, half MOA, 1 MOA, if it's a half MOA, it's only gonna move you about a half of an inch at 100 yards. So if I need to move a half of an inch at 10 yards, 1 click is only gonna move it like the tiniest fraction of an inch. All right, here we go. Come over again. That's better. All right, that's nice. I'm going to fire a new 3-shot group. All right, that's a nice group. I'll show you that. And even as fast as I fired that, down here on the right, on the left there, right there was where I just made some rapid adjustments. And right here, I'll step out in front of the frame, is where I just fired again. Now I'm right below my target, and I want to be about 155. So 155 at 10 yards. I think it's about time that we talk about why we want to have a 100-yard zero and not a 20-yard or 10-yard zero. So can we do a little math together? Is that okay? Let me grab my notes here. Whew, that last sequence I was pretty zoomed in. My apologies. So check it out. Let's just talk about the numbers. If I zero this at 100 yards, I know this is hard for you to read, but I'm going to read it off so you can kind of understand. Standard height over bore for an AR is 2.6 inches. Got it? So that would be my red dot here, my iron sights, 2.59 inches. So if I walked up to the target and I put my muzzle on it, where would I expect that first round to hit? It would be 2.58 inches, pretty much 2.6. The reason it's a little less is the bullet's traversing 10 inches to get to the end of the barrel. So contact shot, 2.5 inches low. Got it? 10 yards, as you see, 1.5 inches low, which means that across a living room, 10 yards, if you put your dot here, you're going to hit the width of a 2x4 on edge low. That's pretty acceptable. At 20 yards, it's going to be 0.68 inches low, so 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch, right? The thickness of a heavy magazine. That's nothing. At 50 yards, you are going to be positive 0.90 inches. Positive. So the round now is up above our line of sight. At 75 yards, it'll be 1 inch high. 1 inch high. So at 75 yards, you're going to be 1 inch high. At 100, 0. So my dot and my bullet will coalesce. So from 0 to 100 yards, my bullet's going to traverse about this much of a path up and down. Tracking? At 125 yards, we're going to drop a whopping 2.22 inches. And now, if we wanted to shoot farther, 200 yards, we're going to drop 16 3/4 inches. Not a big deal. You can easily hold for that. And at 300 yards, it'll drop 56 inches. 56 inches. So 48 inches is a sheet of plywood on edge, right? So it's a little over 4 feet, 4.5 feet, 4'8". It's not an undoable shot. Now, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to shoot that far? And you might be thinking, well, there's no energy left. Let's make a comparison. So 9mm that most of us are carrying, if we've got top quality 9mm ammo, such as Federal, Hornady, something like that, Spear Gold Dot. Spear Gold Dot is like 440 pound-feet of energy, 440 pound-feet of energy at the muzzle. This 300 Black, with what I'm using today, 150 grain from SUPERVEL, is pushing about 729 pound-feet of energy, okay? And you're like, okay, big deal, that's at the muzzle. Well, at 100 yards, it's almost 600, 599. So we're still significantly more energy than a 9mm at 100 yards. At 200 yards, it's like 450, 475, depending on the round. And at 300 yards, you're still 420 pound-feet of energy. At 300 yards, you still have more energy left in that round than most 9mm is carrying at the muzzle. Now, that's not a sales point, but what it means is there is still some thump left in these rounds. Depends on the type of round too, depends on what you're doing. Shooting paper, shooting steel, have fun. I've had guys in classes shoot 500 yards all day long with their 300s once they get a good zero. Are they gonna do anything to a bad guy? Would you wanna harvest game with this at that distance? No. No, you wouldn't, but it's a study in marksmanship. So I'm gonna fall back to 50 real quick, put a few rounds on target and confirm there, and then we'll fall back to like 150, maybe even 200 and ring some steel. Does that sound good? Let's see what the SUPERVEL's capable of. All right, I've got my cardboard. You can see right there to the left of that piece of C-zone steel, that TA target steel, and that blue dot on the head is what I'm going to be aiming at. So we'll fire another group here, and if you remember the math that I just told you, we should be 0.9 inches high, 0.9 inches high at this distance. So we'll see how that works out. I'm gonna get steady and we'll fire a few rounds. All right, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. I gotta say, I have been a fan of Radian since their first iteration. They had another name years ago. They make amazing stuff. Out of the box. I don't care. I got buddies that own AR companies. I got buddies that build them. You can't beat them. I mean, you can't beat them with a stick. The triggers are awesome. The barrels are awesome. They're just freaking awesome guns. So check this out. Do I need to make an adjustment? Yeah. So we're going to make a quick adjustment. We're going to come back. So that was a hasty group off of the barrel. That's about a 1-inch group. And I need to come right. So my adjustments at 10 were a little too much. So this is a half MOA dot, half MOA adjustment rather. So how many clicks would I want to go? So if I want to move over 1 inch with that group, does 4 clicks sound right to you? You think about it and put it in the comments. Tell me how many clicks you would move to move that group 1 inch. I'm going to make a new clean mark out here to check this zero. So I'm going to make my adjustments. You put in the comments what you think it should be, and we'll verify. And just so we can see what's up, these circled areas are from other groups. So that new square in the center there is what we're going to be aiming at. So let's fall back and we'll get another group fired here. We'll see how this works. I'm gonna get a little steadier this time, tighten the group up. I'm gonna try to control my breathing and just really meditate. I say this often in these zeroing videos. For me, it's a meditative process. Same kind of maybe Zen state that I would be in sitting in the woods staring into a fire. Maybe the same state I'd be in sitting on a boat casting as the sun was setting, maybe sitting in a tree stand. All right, let's do it again. Eyes and ears. Let's get nice and steady. Nice and steady. Got my new dot out there. I'm going to dim my dot a little bit more so it occludes a little less of the target. All right, let's see where we're at. Let's take a peek. So if you notice that group, my math for 10 yards, I never did measure to see if I was 155 low. And the reason I didn't is I just wanted to see how this shook out. This dot came off of one of my 223 guns that was zeroed for, you guessed it, 50 yards. So it looks like we've got our windage squared away. I need to tighten that group up. So how many clicks did you guess to come right? I came right 4 clicks. So this is not bullseye shooting. I'm trying to shoot pretty hasty for the video, and I know what these guns and what I'm capable of with them. So I want to make sure that my zero's good. I'm going to confirm now at the proper distance. Is this stuff making sense to you guys? And actually, I misspoke earlier. I remember thinking back to something we were talking about. At 200 yards, the energy of the 300 is still almost 500 pound-feet. I think I said 450 or something like that. I was just guessing. I didn't write down that number. So at 0, it's 729 pound-feet for this ammo. At 100, it's 599. At 200, it's like 498. And then at 300, it's 423. All of those are at or above 9mm level. 729 is, I mean, that's freaking way more than 9-ball. All right, let's stretch this girl's legs now. All right, you see that steel out there in the center of your screen? It's at 103 yards. I'm going to pull the lavalier mic. It'll help you hear the ring-a-ding-ding of steel. And I'm just going to use the side-by-side here as a rest. Are you ready? Nauseatingly simple to hit at 103. Let's fall back to 200, maybe 215-ish, and see how that works. We'll see how our holds work and wrap this video up. So far, this SUPERVEL is 162 yards. I'll zoom you in here. Zoomage. Let's take you a little bit more. So you see it there in the center of your screen, or a little to the left of center. So there we are. Bring you back out. So some food for thought, guys. This is private water, little pond that's landlocked, that is on gated, fenced, and marked land. We're not just out shooting anywhere. That's what this place is for, and it's private. So please understand that if you're watching. I'm going to pull the microphone because it helps you hear the steel. And I'm going to use this now. That's why I adjusted the camera angle, because I think it's good that we work on different posture and not just get fixated and locked into prone or kneeling or sitting at a bench. We should be able to use the things in the environment. So let's see what that looks like. Pretty dang easy. Let's fall back a little farther. And here we are at 203 yards. With a 50-yard zero, this would be about 20 inches of drop. With a 100-yard zero, this would be about 16 3/4 inches of drop. So, know your dope, know the holdovers. You see it out there in the middle of your screen. Let's zoom you back out a little bit. And I'm going to prone out here in front of you. And the reason for that is it's a little more steady and helping me beat the glare that I am seeing. The sun's starting to set straight out to the west there. All right, here we go. And a smackety smack smack. I, friends, am a big fan of math in the sense of ballistics. It's super cool to me that we have at our disposal ballistic calculators that we can just punch numbers in as long as we've got velocity, bullet type, weight, things of that nature, which are all really easy to get. And if you don't have those things, well, what do? You utilize good fundamental marksmanship skills, and you go to different known distances, pace them out, measure them, use a rangefinder. And if you don't even want to do any of that, for example, if there's a certain spot that the deer appear in the clearing or in the meadow, go put a target up at that distance in the summertime and get your dope and figure out where your rifle or handgun or muzzleloader or whatever it is you're shooting, where it's going to hit. This 300 is a cool addition to the carbine family. J.D. Jones made something really cool when he came out with the Whisper AAC, brought it to the mass market, which is cool. This Radian is a primo top-notch rifle. I love Aimpoint. There's plenty of other good optics out there, but Aimpoint does a great job. I'm utilizing today my Tango Down magazine. And of course, the showcase of the video here is our 300 Blackout from SUPERVEL Ammunition. I do hope that you check those guys out. It's been 6-7 years since Cameron and I hooked up, and they've now brought Mike and his family on board as co-owners of the business. They're kicking butt. They've got some core values that I deeply agree with and appreciate. Love of country, love of our creator, love of shooting, love of liberty, love of freedom, love of good old-fashioned hard work and producing damn good stuff. I love that I'm able to connect with companies like that, share them with you. If you guys are in need of some dialed-in ammunition, check out SUPERVEL Ammo. Did a video with them this summer, at the tail end of summer, shooting out to a ½ mile with one of my Radians, with no bipod, with no sandbags, with their 77 grain. 300 Blackout, Radian Weapons, check them out. If you guys haven't checked out our classes at CarryTrainer.com, please do. We've got classes up from Washington to Florida and all points in between. ignisluxcoffee, we're roasting it in-house for you. Be well, don't be dickheads, tell somebody you love them. Get out and train, see what your gun, what your ammo, and what you can do. Because that's all that really matters. Bye now. this isn't a crutch. I'm gonna fill my muzzle full of dirt and I'm gonna blow my gun up. Muzzle level, which means I might need to build some forearm strength. Support hand to the earth, prone out, same thing we've been working on. Support hand straight, pull my knees underneath me, foot, swim back in. Part of this movement is the sling work.